You know that feeling when life here in the UK just feels, well, relentless, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Like you're constantly juggling deadlines, demands, all that stuff, and you're just looking for a bit of solid ground.
It's a very common feeling, I think. The pace of everything now can be quite overwhelming.
Totally. So in this deep dive, we're not just, talking about that feeling. We're actually exploring something that might offer some genuine relief for mind and body.
Hmm.
We're going to take a close look at the foundational ideas from the first two modules of a really interesting course on yoga and its benefits.
Exactly. Think of it as us sort of distilling the core essence, getting to the heart of what these first modules cover. So you get a clear understanding of the fundamentals.
Okay, so what exactly do these first two modules lay out? What's the learning journey there?
Well, Module 1 really gets into the science, why yoga actually works. It explores the physical and mental health benefits that research is starting to back up. Then Module 2 dives into that deep connection between our minds and bodies.
Yeah.
It's always there, but yoga really helps strengthen it.
Right. So our aim here for this deep dive is to pull out the most useful and interesting bits from these opening modules.
Yeah,
We want to give you a really clear sense of the core ideas and, importantly, how understanding them might actually bring some real improvements to your day-to-day life.
makes sense.
Right then, let's kick off with Module 1, the science of yoga and health benefits.
Okay. So yoga has this incredibly long history, goes back thousands of years. And while its roots are quite spiritual, people realized over time it just had these huge advantages for, well, the whole person.
Right, not just the spiritual side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating now is how modern science is actually validating a lot of these older observations. The course material talks about the tremendous overall health benefits of a yoga lifestyle.
And it's so much more than just like bending into shapes, isn't it? This is
Uh-huh.
where I find it really interesting. The research actually suggests yoga changes the brain.
Yeah, that's a key finding. It seems to help cultivate more presence, quiets down some of that mental noise.
Hmm.
And apparently it's not just something you feel on the mat for an hour. It kind of ripples out. You might find yourself feeling more compassion, more uh, aware in daily life.
That's quite profound.
It is. And the module also touches on this idea of abundance, not necessarily, wealth or possessions,
Right.
but connecting with the abundance that is within our grasp just by being present, by
Yeah.
accepting things as they are. It's sort of a reframing of what makes life rich.
That's a powerful shift. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk poses, the asanas. What's the thinking behind those specific stretches?
Well, each yoga posture, or asana, is designed quite specifically. They have individual purposes, aiming to create balance in the body, building both flexibility and strength.
Ah, okay, both.
Yes. And the course is clear. Perfection is not the ultimate goal. It's really framed as a personal journey, not a competition.
Well, which is probably quite reassuring for people starting out. And
Yeah.
it's meant to be for everyone, right? Whatever your fitness level.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's stressed quite strongly in the module. It's very inclusive. You don't need to be super flexible or strong to begin.
Good to know.
Progress is gradual, and it's described as a lifetime commitment, which highlights it's more about ongoing well-being than a quick fix. And fundamentally, it's about uniting mind and body.
Okay, let's get into some specifics. What about the researched health benefits? Stress relief must be a big one, given, well, everything.
Yes, definitely. The module mentions all those common stressors: work, family, money worries, the drill.
Hmm.
And it explains how yoga holding poses, the stretching, focusing your mind, the deep breathing, it all helps bring about a sense of calm. But more than that, it helps you learn to consciously choose our response to stress.
Ah, so you feel less reactive.
Exactly. More in control of your reaction.
And pain relief. I know that's a huge issue for many people in the UK.
Yes, the module points to studies showing yoga can help with chronic conditions, things like multiple sclerosis and arthritis. It does say later modules go into more detail on the immune system and cardiovascular stuff.
Okay. And breathing, that seems absolutely central to yoga.
It really is. The module highlights that direct link between yoga practice and slower, deeper breathing. And that itself is a powerful tool for stress reduction, for calming the nervous system. You sometimes hear it called improving vagal tone.
Right. And flexibility, the classic yoga benefit, how does that actually work physically?
Well, the stretching obviously improves muscle elasticity, but it also strengthens them. And because yoga tends to work the whole body, it helps release tension that we hold, often without realizing it. That leads to better movement, feeling looser overall.
Interesting. The module also mentions weight management. Not necessarily like a high-intensity cardio workout, but something else.
That's right. It's less about burning tons of calories in one go and more about increasing your body awareness.
How so?
What practitioners often become more tuned into, like hunger signals, feeling full, maybe even noticing how different foods make them feel. And this awareness can naturally lead to healthier eating choices and, well, maybe some gradual weight management as a side effect.
Okay, that makes sense. Circulation is another one mentioned. Why is that important, and how does yoga help?
Good circulation is vital, really. It gets oxygen and nutrients everywhere, including the brain, which impacts energy, focus, cell repair, basically everything.
Right.
And the way yoga stretches the entire body really encourages healthy blood flow. The module even mentions the camel pose as a specific example for boosting circulation.
Okay. And lastly, for Module 1, cardio health. What's the connection there, particularly maybe for prevention?
The module talks about yoga helping manage stress after things like heart surgery, but also it suggests it can help regulate blood pressure, which is obviously important for prevention. Again, it hints that later modules will cover heart health more specifically.
It's good that the module manages expectations, too. It says these benefits don't just appear overnight, no two-week miracle.
Exactly. Patience is key. The material suggests you'd typically see noticeable changes after about, say, 2 months of regular practice. But the encouraging thing is, you'll likely start feeling improvements in different ways, mentally and physically, whatever reason you started.
So, recapping Module 1, we've got the mental benefits, brain changes, presence. Then the physical ones, stress, pain, breathing, flexibility, weight, circulation, cardio, and these broader life lessons about acceptance and inner abundance.
That covers it pretty well.
Okay, let's shift gear. Module 2, emotions and the mind-body connection. This feels like it gets right to the heart of our experience.
It really does. This module explores that fundamental idea of how yoga helps us build or maybe rediscover that connection between mind and body.
Right.
And it notes this isn't a new idea at all. Buddhist traditions, for example, understood this interplay thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
The main point is when mind and body are more in sync, we function better, feel better.
And why is fostering that connection so helpful day to day, dealing with all the challenges life throws at us?
Well, according to the module, if you have a better awareness of your thoughts, your feelings, and what's happening in your body, you're just better equipped to handle stress and adversity.
Okay.
It also seems to lead to healthier relationships and maybe a stronger sense of self-belief, which is pretty vital.
Life definitely isn't always smooth sailing. The module acknowledges that emotions fluctuate. And it's not just bad stuff that causes distress, right? Even good things can be stressful.
Absolutely. Things like losing a job, an injury, bereavement, sure. But also big positive changes, moving house, marriage, a new job, they can all stir things up emotionally.
Yeah, change is change.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is how our bodies often physically show this mental or emotional turmoil.
Ah, yes, the physical symptoms of stress. The module gives examples.
It does. Things like high blood pressure, maybe digestive problems like ulcers or struggling with sleep insomnia, they're presented as signs that the mind or emotions might be struggling. It really shows how mind and body work together, whether we realize it or not.
So how does yoga practice help us develop that mental awareness specifically?
Yoga encourages what's sometimes called interoception, that's sensing our internal state. This awareness makes us more conscious of underlying feelings or thought patterns.
Okay.
And that allows us to actually acknowledge them, maybe process them, instead of just pushing them down where they can cause problems later. Dealing with negativity healthily lets us move through it better.
That makes sense. Trying to ignore feelings doesn't usually work out well. And the module suggests this also helps us appreciate the good stuff more.
Precisely. When you get better at handling the negative, you create more space to notice and appreciate the positive things in life, things that might get drowned out when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Right?
Yoga helps find that balance, reminding you that even when things are tough, there's still good stuff. And that balanced view really boosts your quality of life.
And the stronger mind-body link builds resilience, doesn't it?
Yes. The module explains that a healthy connection gives you a greater capacity to cope, to bounce back. Resilience isn't just something you have or don't have. It's presented as a skill you can develop.
Hmm.
It helps you feel less like life is just happening to you and more like you have some control.
Hmm.
Yoga and meditation are highlighted as really valuable tools for building that calmer, more centered state, which is resilience.
And that inner calm probably has knock-on effects. Better sleep, maybe how we eat or interact with people.
Absolutely. Feeling more grounded often leads to better sleep, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe more mindful eating choices too,
Hmm.
and potentially deeper connections with others. The module also briefly mentions the immune system link. Just notes
Yes.
that ongoing stress can make us more vulnerable to getting sick,
Hmm.
but it says that's covered more later on.
It's fascinating how modern science seems to be catching up with some of these ancient ideas. The module mentions 20th century research confirming the stress-emotion-body links.
Yes, and thankfully we're seeing a shift in healthcare too, a more integrated view. The module points out that more doctors are now recommending things like yoga and meditation, not just for general stress, but even alongside treatment for things like cardiovascular issues.
That's really positive, and the module actually encourages people to talk to their own doctors about this.
It does, about the potential benefits of yoga for them personally. The main message is, wherever you're starting from, mentally or physically, there's always room for improvement, for enhancement.
Okay, so summing up Module 2. Key themes are the mind-body connection itself, seeing yoga as a form of moving meditation, not just exercise,
Mm.
and understanding how these practices support a healthier mind and better emotional balance. This has been, well, really insightful looking at these first two modules.
It has. We've seen how yoga offers really practical tools, hasn't it? For stress, for physical health backed by science, and for building that stronger mind-body link. All incredibly relevant for just getting through daily life here in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. And it's crucial to remember this deep dive has really only scratched the surface of what's in the full course.
That's right. There are more modules available. They go deeper into specific topics, building on these foundations we've talked about.
Hmm.
It offers a much more complete picture and more practices too.
So if what you've heard today has sparked your interest, maybe made you curious to learn more and continue this journey towards, well, better well-being,
Yeah.
you'll find a link to purchase the full course right there in the description.
Yeah, maybe just take a moment to consider how integrating even just these initial ideas, the science, the mind-body connection,
Hmm.
how that could positively impact your own daily life. The full course really does offer a wealth of knowledge and the potential for some genuinely lasting transformative benefits.